What's up, nerds? Welcome to Real Talk. Corey, Cameron, Sanna. We're here to talk about the Hunger Games saga. Is that what you call it? A saga?
Trilogy?
It's not, though. There's 4 of them.
Anyway.
Quadrilogy?
Technically 3.
Okay. We're going to talk about the newest movie first, and then we're going to talk about how the overall saga of the movies differ from the books and stuff like that. First of all, what did you guys think of the last movie, how they wrapped everything up?
Well, I've read the books, so I think if you haven't read the books, you should kind of say your opinion first, and then I'll tell you if it matches.
Yeah, I never read the book, so everything was a complete surprise to me. I had no idea what was going to happen. But the last film, if I'm talking from a film standpoint, I felt like it was maybe a good 10-15 minutes too long. But the end of it, I don't know. I can't help but say I felt a little weird when it was over. Like, spoiler, she shoots the arrow and kills Coin, and I'm like, okay. And then, I don't know, I feel like the end of the Hunger Games had this huge social commentary behind it of society, but then it's almost like I don't feel like that resolved anything, because technically what you're doing by killing Coin is like, I don't know, the whole thing really felt weird to me. But overall as a movie, I thought it was really good and I was really into it. Francis Lawrence is a brilliant director. When they were down in the sewers and stuff, my heart was beating.
Oh, yeah.
Every time they turned the corner, I was like, oh, fuck, is something going to happen? I don't know. It was really well done. And I really love Natalie Dormer. She's really good in that movie, Cressida. I thought she was really cool. I like a lot of people in the movie, honestly. Like, I don't know the actor's name, but the guy who couldn't speak. He's really good. I like him a lot. He was in the Daredevil show.
Yeah, he's part of the Bash Brothers from Mighty Ducks.
That's what I keep on saying. Mighty Ducks. I've never seen it, so I didn't know what the hell they were talking about.
Gosh, best sports movie ever.
But Julianne Moore is great, and it is a little sad seeing Philip Seymour Hoffman because he's been dead for a good year now. But Stanley Tucci being in it for a tiny bit this time, but it was like totally turned around. He was the same as he was in Mockingjay Part 1, where he's like, against Katniss and against everybody pretty much. And Donald Sutherland is like one of the best movies he's ever been in. He's like crazy. He's got this weird smile on the whole time.
Yeah.
He's really borderline psychotic.
But
then there's that moment at the end when he's talking to Katniss, and it's almost like you're on his side for a moment, which that was really interesting and well done. Like, I didn't expect to ever be on his side, because the whole time you hate this motherfucker and you want him to die. But then that happens, and you're like, I don't know. The whole time, though, that was really well done. The whole time, I never felt like I could fully trust Coin. Like, she felt weird, like she had an ulterior motive behind all of this. But back to Mockingjay Part 2, really. I don't know, I thought it had a good runtime, it had a great pace. I thought Mockingjay Part 1 was a great build-up to this, but itself as a film, Mockingjay Part 1, it just feels kind of empty, because it's clearly just a build-up to the second one. And the second one is gives you a lot of closure, I can say that much. And I think it's kind of a bummer that I heard ruse that there's going to be like a Hunger Games prequel series. It's like, come on, dude. Fuck off. But I think the very, very ending of the movie was kind of like, happy ending was kind of out of the blue, but
yeah,
I was okay with it, I guess. But yeah, that's what I think about Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2.
Alright, I'll say my opinion on everything you said, but you just saying the ending, you thought it was kind of weird. It was like a happy ending. When we walked out of the movie, I told him, I'm like, the one thing I didn't like is the ending. Because in the book, it's the same thing. That's what happens. But she's not happy. She's never the same. She feels horrible. She's tortured the rest of her life. She only has the kids for PETA. And, like, at that point, she's still supposed to be, like, empty and tormented and everything. And I feel like in the movie it was like, oh, she got a happy ending, she's playing in the field with her babies, and in the book it's not like that. So like, that's funny that's how you saw it, 'cause that's what I thought too, and I'm like, that's not right. I didn't like that. But with the rest of it, I'd say it matched really well, all the books really, which we'll get into. But with part 2, I agree with part 1. That's kind of how the book was too. It's a lead up. So they did the best they could. It's only so interesting leading up to a finale. With part 2, it was, like you were saying with the sewers, like that's something you couldn't really picture in the book. Because you're picturing like sewers, but of course it's the Capitol. They're not going to be just regular sewers. So I thought that was really well done. And I don't know what they're called, but the things that were attacking them.
Like zombie people or something.
Yeah, you couldn't picture that. So like that was really cool. It was really, as a reader, I was excited to see how they would show all the, God, I forget what they're called now, all the traps, like in the Capitol, all the traps. The pods. And that was really cool. I feel like it was what I wanted. But they had to leave out a lot of crucial information, because that book could have been 3 movies. Like, that's how I didn't want it to be, but that's how much information it had. So they did the best they could, but they left out a lot. But I was happy overall, with you kind of being surprised by Snow kind of being on her side at the end. Reading it was the same thing. You're like, wait a minute, is this real? Is he really on her side? And I think it was more like, you dumb girl, we have the same enemy, you know? And also when she killed Coin in the book, you're like, oh, can't believe she did that. But then you realize, you're like, oh, she had the same motive as Snow. Reading the book, though, the part that shocked me the most was Prim dying. Spoiler.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Like, you're reading it, the book's all intense, it's fast-paced, and then you read that part, and you're literally like, what the hell just happened? Like, her life's been destroyed, this girl's tormented, and you killed her sister. So that...
Which, in the first movie, she did this just to protect her sister.
Right.
Which is
that's the whole irony. And I feel like they could have made it a bigger moment in the movie. You could have easily kind of missed it. If you weren't,
to be honest,
if you
talking
like
about
blinked.
it right there, I kind of forgot about it because it's so quick.
But in the book, it's like this big moment. So I think that could have been more pronounced. And I was telling you, like, when we left the movie, the other thing that annoyed me is after Prim dies, she goes crazy. Like, batshit crazy. Like, you're reading it, she's beyond psychotic. And they didn't really show that. They didn't really show her being like, yeah, they showed her being upset, Katniss, but they didn't show like
I feel like
how
they kinda,
upset she was.
For how they kind of like showed how close she was to her sister, they kind of just glossed over that. I mean, not really, but kind of like, okay, they showed she was upset, but there should have been like probably like a 7 or 8 minute scene where she's like freaking out. People are trying to calm her down. Like, that's what I kind of felt like they just kind of glossed over it. Like,
because it was really powerful reading it. Like, how, like, it was a moment.
Yeah.
And it was like 10, 20 pages. So for them to kind of, she freaks out when she gets back to the house at the cat. Like, she's not coming back. But, like, that was like a whole chapter.
Yeah.
And I feel like it kind of, and that then leads into still how screwed up she is once she has her kids. So I feel like them glossing over that leads to glossing over at the ending of how screwed up she is. So that was my only complaint. Everything else I liked. I just think with her feelings being so beautifully written, I would have loved to see them being portrayed, especially because Jennifer Lawrence can do that. She can act like that. So otherwise, they were pretty spot on, I'd say.
all the movies?
Yeah. I think especially the first one, you're going into it not knowing what to expect. And of course it has like a bigger expectation, but when you're reading the book, Suzanne Collins does a really good job of having you picture everything, even though these are places you've never seen. And yeah, there was some stuff where I was like, oh, that's how that should look, or what. But overall, the Capitol was what I thought it would be. The people of the Capitol are what I thought they would be. It was perfect. I think they did creatively a really, really good job with all the movies. Yeah. I think it matched. Aside from things you have to leave out, it matched.
Yeah. I mean, from like an overall, from the movie standpoint, I kind of feel like, except for like one or two like subplots in the second movie, and then obviously the ending of the second movie, like I almost felt like the first movie is almost negligible. At some degree. I kind of feel like, the second movie and the first movie are almost identical, except for the ending, and then the subplots of like, this is the quarters, what's it called?
Quarter quell.
Yeah, that. And like they bring back the old competitors to compete for this one.
But when you're reading it, you're like, oh, this is insane. So
like, I mean, except for some minor subplots, I kind of felt like there's some points in the first movie, like her sister gets picked and she volunteers for her sister instead. Like that's a big point. But I don't know. I really thought like my favorite movie was Mockingjay Part 1 because of that where they're trying to save PETA at the end. I thought that scene was really cool, and I just thought that was cool. And then like this last movie, I thought it was good, but I felt like there was definitely something missing. Like there's some things I didn't really understand that you explained to me.
Yeah, I was like whispering in your ear every now and then.
Yeah, and I was like, I feel like this is missing something. I don't know what it is, but it's missing something to where like it's almost my least favorite. Yeah. And then at the end where like if you hadn't have told me that the end was different, like everything's just happy ending, whatever, like that doesn't fit the rest
that's
of the
why
movies.
I was like,
and it's just kind of like,
yeah.
But overall, I mean, I like the movies. I mean, I'll watch them like if they're on TV, but I'm not gonna like go out of my way to buy them or like, if they're on Netflix, I'll put them in the watch queue or whatever. But like, it's not something for me like Captain America or Indiana Jones or something like that for me, or Ninja Turtles or something where I'm gonna go buy it even if the movie's bad. I'm gonna buy it, So I don't know. I know that you love the Hunger Games.
Well, I fell in love with the books. I could see what you're saying about the movies. They're not my favorite movies of all time. I like them because I liked the books. I like the premise. I like that if you just see it from the surface, it's like this dystopian world and this love triangle and whatever. It's not. It's about government control and the people fighting back and rebellion and standing up for yourself. So reading it at that point of view, like, yeah, they're great, but I don't know if all that came across in the movies. So I can see how they're not like super impactful movies.
Yeah, and the whole like love triangle thing, I never really felt that until like the last movie where like I always felt like her and PETA were putting on a show, even though PETA obviously loved Katniss, but I didn't ever feel like Katniss loved PETA at all.
She doesn't.
Yeah, so like that was kind of like the whole thing.
I think she can't love anyone because she's so destroyed.
In the movies, I really felt like up until the very end, Liam Hemsworth character, Gale. Yeah, I really felt like she loved him until that last like.
She told him to leave.
And like when he walked in the room, she was sitting in, I'm assuming, Snow's office or whatever, and like he walked in and like he had something to do with the plot or whatever. So
that was fucked, by the way.
Yeah,
just to say.
Yeah,
that's another thing that didn't come across like right away. Like the reason she hates Gale is because he was part of building the bombs that killed her sister.
Yeah.
And that wasn't apparent at all. So I could see how viewers would be like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
So I get it. It didn't have the same... The movie has to have flash and explosions and whatever.
It's the same way with... I mean, not
Any
to the extent, but it's the
movie.
same way with like the Harry Potter movies. They obviously changed some things for the movies that weren't in the books, and like it's every book adaptation. They change things to make it more movie friendly. Like Lord of the Rings was the same way. Like that whole trilogy takes place over like decades in the books, but in the movies it takes place over like a week or something. I don't know. Like that always bothered me too. I'm not a big Lord of the Rings guy, but I did read the books and I did like them, and I appreciate the movies, but I don't really like them. But that's a different topic. But anything else you guys want to touch on before we end this first edition of Real Talk?
Well, I just wanted to touch back on that love triangle thing. To be honest, I never really felt it.
Okay.
Like, that's the biggest thing. I think I felt it in the first movie. It was kind of a love triangle here because it was pretty clear that she loved Gale or that she was really into him or something. And then Peeta comes along, and the whole thing clearly felt like an act, but then you move on to Catching Fire, and it's like it started to change. And one thing, a testament to great filmmaking, is that it really did feel like something was happening there. It wasn't just like out of left field, like Man of Steel, Lois Lane, just like 2 seconds go by, it's like, I love you now. Yeah. It's not that. And I don't know. I think the best thing about the Hunger Games movies is that or the books, is that they're so sophisticated and legitimate, and they have great social commentary behind it, unlike fucking Divergent and Maze Runner and stuff like that, which just feels like cash grabs and like lazy attempts at trying to do what they did, even though maybe it makes me sound ignorant or something, but since Hunger Games was the first to do it, maybe if Maze Runner was first, I'd be saying that about Maze Runner right now. But as I stand right now, I seriously think Hunger Games is the best young adult adaptation of a dystopian future as of now, because Divergent and Maze Runner.
I just think it has the most like relatable heart and soul to it. Like, you can relate to these people. Like, they're being suppressed by the government. They're trying to stand up for, like, anybody can relate to that. Like, standing up for what you believe in and being pushed down. And I just think it's relatable to anyone in any country, in any circumstance. I think that's what kind of makes him so popular. I mean, I'm sure the, like, preteens like it because the surface, like, oh, it's fun. But that I hesitated reading them because I was like, young adult. I was like 22 at the time, an adult. But once I read it, I'm like, no, this is real stuff. This is real world. So
I feel like Hunger Games is for the adults and Divergence is for the teens and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So.
All right, well, we're going to wrap this up. Thank you for joining us on this first edition of Real Talk. Remember to like and subscribe and share this video. Leave a comment below. Let us know how we're doing. What do you want to hear on the next edition of Real Talk? And until next time, we're out.